My wife's father called me worthless trash in front of the entire family. She deserves better, he declared. I nodded politely and said, "You're right, sir," and left his house alone. The next day, at 10 a.m., he got 3 text messages, one from his lawyer, "The deal is over," one from his daughter, "I hate you," and one from me, "Don't mess with trash." "Whoa, you think you deserve her?" His voice cracked across the oak dining table like a whip. "You're worthless, trash. She deserves better." Every pair of eyes turned toward me. My wife's cousins froze mid-bite. Her mother looked down, pretending to butter a roll she hadn't touched in 20 minutes. Her sister rolled her eyes again, and my wife sat there, said nothing. Again. I said, "Trash." Her father, Lawrence, leaned forward, that southern preacher tone tightening like a noose. "You nodding like some stray mutt makes you no less of a parasite." I didn't flinch, not this time. I nodded once, politely. "You're right, sir." And I stood, buttoned my coat, walked out, alone. Who I am. My name is Evan Reed, 28 years old, born in Ohio, living in Atlanta. I've been a mechanic since I was 16, started with nothing, built something. Nothing flashy, but clean, honest. I married up, that's what they say. All of them. She married down, is how they say it behind doors they don't close well enough. I always nodded, always kept the peace. I learned a long time ago that silent men survive longer, in other people's war zones. But that night at Lawrence's house, that was the final silence, the family who never saw me. Lawrence Brighton, 63. Retired CEO, golf club royalty, a man who measures value by zip code and handshake pressure. Never called me Evan, just him. Diane Brighton, 60. The mother-in-law who mastered the art of smiling through disdain, polite, cold, never raised her voice, just her expectations. Samantha, 32, my wife's older sister, marketing exec, once told me she wouldn't date someone who worked with their hands unless it was to sign property deeds. Amelia, 27. My wife, bright, beautiful, cautious, the kind of woman who apologizes when it rains on your picnic, and, in this family, always apologizing. It started with a loan. Correction. I found out we're about a loan. Amelia co-signed with her father for a second mortgage, without telling me, without discussing it. $320,000 against our home. It was for family, Evan. It's temporary. I didn't think you'd understand. Didn't think I'd understand. Right. I sat there at the kitchen counter with the paperwork spread like a crime scene. Lawrence signed in tight loops. Amelia's name. Clean cursive. Mine? Nowhere. My hands built that home. Their hands leveraged it. You were a convenience, Evan, not a partner. Lawrence didn't whisper it. He said it with a glass of 18-year Macallan in hand. You got a pretty face and a paycheck, but you're not legacy. My daughter carries Brighton blood. You fix tires. I own the shop. 3 now. Good for you. Still trash. Just owns the dumpster now. That word again. Trash. I looked at Amelia. Nothing. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I let it sink deep. Like fuel. 12 years ago, my mum got sick. ALS. She couldn't speak near the end. I was 17. I worked double shifts at the garage while going to high school. Missed prom. Missed graduation. Took care of her until the last hour. Held her hand while her chest stopped rising. The day she died, I remember saying to her, "You deserved better than me." She blinked once, slow, and cried. That was her answer. That pain, the weight of believing I wasn't enough, never really left. Until now, no flash drives, no exposés, just a phone call. One I made the moment I walked out of that house, to Carver and Drewson LLP. Lawrence's largest supplier, the one I'd connected him with 2 years ago. I was the middleman on that deal. He'd needed someone who knew small businesses to make it look ethical. Turns out. I held the backdoor clause to void it. The next morning, 10:03 a.m., his phone buzzed. "The deal is terminated. We're done, Lawrence." Then again, "I hate you," from Amelia. And a final message from me. "Trash doesn't burn, it buries." He came to our house, pounding on the door like a madman. Amelia wouldn't open it. I did. "You ruined everything." "No, sir, you did. I just stopped carrying your sins." Diane called Amelia 3 times. Voicemail. Samantha texted me once. "You think this makes you better?" I didn't respond. She doesn't know what better looks like. That night, Lawrence finally cried. Right there on the porch. For himself, not for us. Amelia and I talked. For the first time, really talked. She cried, apologized. "I was scared you'd leave me if you knew how much power they had over me." I held her hand. Quietly. "I'm not leaving, Amelia, but they don't get to live in this house anymore, not even through your fear." She started therapy. I started sleeping again. We don't speak to her father now, but sometimes we hear through others. He's selling the lake house. Good. I never liked the view anyway. It's been 7 months. Some mornings I still wake up waiting for the weight, that familiar pressure behind the ribs, the kind that comes from always being less than in the eyes of people who should have held you up. But the air's lighter now. The house is quieter, not cold, just peaceful. Amelia painted our bedroom last month, soft green, like a spring leaf barely formed. I didn't even know I liked green until I walked in and felt my chest ease. Healing isn't loud. It's not fireworks or epiphanies. It's quiet dinners with no apology in the air. It's going to bed without rehearsing tomorrow's arguments. It's watching someone you love uncoil from the inside out. And Amelia's starting to come back. Not the version her father praised. Polished, agreeable, dutiful. The real her. She laughs now. At her own jokes. She'll sing while cooking. Paint barefoot in the garage. I found her sketchbook tucked behind the laundry one day, filled with colour and chaos and life. None of it for anyone else. Just hers. She told me, quietly, a few weeks ago, I didn't know I was allowed to be angry at them. And I said, "You are. But you don't have to stay angry forever." That's what I'm learning too. I expanded my business, opened a 3rd garage in Marietta, hired some kids straight out of trade school. One of them, Trev, reminds me of me when I was 19. Awkward, good with engines, bad with compliments. He's staying late these days. I think he feels safe here. I never had a mentor, but I can be one. Maybe that's the best kind of revenge, not proving them wrong, just living so fully. They can't touch you anymore. Lawrence? I don't know. Last I heard, he lost that deal with Carver and Drusen. Another investor pulled out after hearing about the family dispute. Apparently, word got around. Funny how truth doesn't always need a spotlight. Sometimes it just drips through cracks. Quiet. Unstoppable. He sent Amelia a card. For her birthday. It just said, "I miss you." I didn't mean it. She left it on the kitchen counter. Didn't open it. Didn't throw it away either. Healing looks different for everyone. One Sunday afternoon, I sat on the porch with a coffee in hand. It started raining. Gentle, summer rain. The kind that doesn't threaten anything, just reminds you. Amelia came out, barefoot, holding her sketchbook. She sat beside me and said, "Do you still feel like trash?" I looked at her, looked out at our yard, the small garden we planted together, the garage I built by hand, the dog asleep at my feet, my hands covered in calluses that built our life, and I said, "No, I feel like soil." She smiled. "What do you mean?" "Trash gets buried," I said, "but soil feeds everything." I'm not angry anymore. I'm not afraid either. Some part of me might always carry the echo of Lawrence's voice, the contempt, the dismissal, the assumption that I didn't belong. But another part of me, the better part, knows who I am now. Not perfect, not flashy, just real, and finally, enough. If you were in Evan's shoes, would you have walked away that night, or fought back differently? Drop a comment below. What would you do if your partner's family crossed the line too far? And if you've ever been called not enough, less than, or just straight up trash, this story's for you. Your story matters. Like if this hit home, subscribe for more emotional stories with a twist of real power. Share this with someone who needs to hear. Your worth isn't up for debate. Let's talk in the comments. And remember, trash doesn't burn, it buries. And then, it grows wildflowers.